So the third step that we're going to take to kind of spatialize our follies is to make walls where we have currently solid volumes. We've made the floors, we've talked about the intent, but let's go ahead and make the walls. And the simplest way that a very cleanly crafted object can be given walls, I think, is the shell command. It doesn't work in every single case. I'm going to move this guy out of the way. It does not work in all cases, but if your object is pretty purely formed, and even this kind of twisted guy over here, because its formation was done in a pretty simple way, it's a pretty cleanly defined object, it will still work on this. And the idea with shell is that you're going to take a volume and you are going to just make it into a shell where it has been a solid. Let me just show you by example. So let's zoom in. We'll start off with this. And depending on what I want to do, you always need to leave one surface off in order to shell. If you knew that you wanted solid walls all the way around this kind of the boot of Italy, you could use the shell command and indicate that you don't want the top surface. Every other surface would be shelled. Alternatively, you may say that you want a bottom and a top, but you don't want one of these faces to shell. You want maybe an opening in this wall. And I'm going to show you sort of two different versions of the shell that just come about by virtue of the plane that you select not to shell. So let's go ahead and do that operation. I'm going to first say that I don't want the top, and you can pick as many surfaces as you want. I might say I don't want the top and I don't want a face, but let's go, or the top and the bottom. You can do as many as you want, but let's just go ahead and do the first simple one. I've indicated my thickness will be 1 foot, so our floors are going to be 2 feet deep and our walls are going to be 1 foot thick. That could be a lot of different kinds of construction, but it's a good general number. If I hit enter, you will see that this object has now turned essentially into a volume with space inside. That's easy. That's pretty nice. I like doing that. Okay, so let's undo that for a second. Let's do a different shell. Let's try it this way. Shell, I'm going to pick a surface this time, and shell, I kept the same 1 foot space, and now you'll see that I've got, it's a little hard to see, I've got a top plane here, I've got a back wall, I've got a lower plane, and I've got walls except for the one wall that I picked. So what you're doing when you do the shell command is sort of indicating which, that's a better view, which wall or which surface you don't want to become a wall. So this could be very nice. As I said, I'm going to add some glass out here, and that might be a good place to do that. Let's do our weird volume over here just to make sure that it is possible to happen. Let's initiate the shell command, select the surface you don't want. I'm going to select this time the top and the bottom so that I just have these walls that can be the surroundings for these floors. I'm going to hit enter, and when I zoom in I can see that I have this very nicely defined sort of shell of a volume.